Charlie, you still got the glass ball, right?
Yeah.
Well, all you gotta do is shake it whenever you want to see your dad.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for where the cast of the Santa Claus is now.
Can we take a direct flight back to reality, or do we have to change planes in Denver?
Larry, take Charlie here and get him some chow.
For this list, we'll be looking at what the actors from this classic Christmas comedy have been up to since 1994. Are you going to watch the Santa Clauses? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Mary Gross. Those who grew up in the 80s might recognize Gross from SNL when she co-anchored Weekend Update and appeared as characters like the sarcastic nun.
You cannot continue to be sarcastic and serve God. You do want to serve God, don't you?
Oh, no. I'm a nun. I want to worship Satan and dance naked at a black mass.
90s kids will know her as Charlie's teacher in The Santa Claus. Gross made the most of her limited screen time as Ms. Daniels, who forces herself to smile through an uncomfortable career day while teaching her students the political correctness of saying elves.
Bobby, we don't say stupid, and we don't say elves. They're little people.
Aside from a couple of other movies like Practical Magic, Gross primarily made TV guest appearances, from dramas like 6 Feet Under to sitcoms like That's So Raven, to daytime soaps like General Hospital. Gross has been retired from acting for nearly a decade, her last credit being a 2012 episode of Raising Hope.
I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Oh, yeah, real soon. Oh.
Number 9, Steve Vinovich. Steve Vinovich's screen time in The Santa Claus is also brief, but he plays an integral role in one of the most memorable sequences. Concerned by his sudden weight gain, Scott consults Vinovich's Dr. Novos.
Well, nuts. Oh, no, your pulse is great. Well, I don't know, Scott. You're as healthy as a horse.
Yeah. Clydesdale.
Although Scott's belly literally jiggles like a bowl full of jelly, the doctor assures his patient that he's somehow in good health. Funnily enough, Vinovich later played another doctor on Tim Allen's sitcom Home Improvement. As far as guest starring roles go, Vinovich's most significant was perhaps playing one of the few people who hates Raymond.
So it's true? You do hate me?
Man, you ought to learn to quit while you're ahead.
Vinovich has popped up in several Broadway shows like Waitress, playing the kindly Joe, and lent his voice to various animated projects, including Puffin in the Swan Princess franchise.
The prince wants a fighting Air Force, and it's my job to get you birds in shape. You're in Puffin's army now. General Puffin.
Number 8, Frank Welker. Speaking of voice actors, you might not know Frank Welker's face, but you've definitely heard his voice. From dogs to monkeys to Bigfoot, there isn't a creature under the sun that Welker hasn't provided noises for. This extends to reindeer and the Santa Claus.
Oof, easy, Rudolph.
Excuse me, Comet.
Dad!
While fellow voice actor Bob Bergen inherited the role of Comet in the sequels, Welker remains one of the definitive artists in the business. Decades later, he's still voicing Transformers and Disney characters, including Abu and Cave of Wonders.
Oh, wise Sultan, how may I serve you?
He's most notably the voice of Fred Jones and Scooby-Doo, a franchise he's been associated with for over 50 years. Recently, he received a Children's and Family Emmy nomination for voicing both characters, as well as himself on Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
What exactly is voice acting? You know, it's kind of funny, Scoob. I've been doing it for 50 years now, but I'm not really sure I know how to explain it.
Number 7, Peter Boyle. Peter Boyle was already an established character actor before appearing as Scott's boss, Mr. Whittle.
Calvin.
You don't believe in Santa, do you?
Calvin, can we get back to the presentation?
His resume ranged from classic comedies like Young Frankenstein to gritty dramas like Taxi Driver. Boyle was at his most popular during his later years, winning an Emmy for his 1996 guest spot on The X-Files. He'd receive 8 more Emmy nominations for his regular stint on Everybody Loves Raymond as Frank Barone, probably his most celebrated role.
I bet you can't even name the reindeer. No, Rudolph,
Donner, Blitzen. Those are the main ones. We rotate them so they wear evenly.
While Mr. Whittle doesn't appear in the Santa Claus sequels, Boyle would return as Father Time. Why do Father Time and Whittle look the same? Maybe it's a glitch in the space-time continuum. The escape clause would be among Boyle's final roles, hitting theaters just a month before he died in 2006.
27 days, 20 hours, and 17 minutes. Wow. Is what I do.
Number 6. Paige Tamada. The elves in the Santa Claus are played by kids, but they're older than they look.
Hey, kid, who's in charge here?
You are. And I'm not a kid. I have pointy shoes that are older than you.
Judy the Elf, for example, is 1,200 years old, although actress Paige Tamada was closer to 9 when the film came out. Tamada had already popped up in an episode of Home Improvement as a girl who repeatedly bests Tim in toy car racing.
Hang it up, old man. Can I go play with my friends now?
You know, you're starting to tick me off a little bit.
After giving Scott his hot chocolate, Tamada would appear in other sitcoms like Seinfeld and Ally McBeal before leaving the acting scene at the turn of the century. Now living a private life, Tamada reportedly attended the University of California and the University of Amsterdam, going on to build a career for herself in HR.
You know, I must say, you look pretty good for your age.
Thanks, but I'm seeing someone in rapping.
Number 5. David Krumholtz. This Jewish-American actor got his big break as the nerdy Joel Glicker in Addams Family Values, but we remember him best for playing Santa's no-nonsense head elf.
Hey, Barabbas. Bernard.
Oh, sorry, Bernard. You might also know him as Goldstein from the Harold and Kumar movies, or as Michael Eckman from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Lord of the dance. Hi, Heather.
Bite me.
Should have kept the tie.
Krumholtz reprised his role as Bernard in The Santa Claus 2, although a scheduling conflict got in the way of him returning for the escape clause. 2011 was a difficult year for Krumholtz, as he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Thankfully, Krumholtz was declared cancer-free in 2012, and 10 years later, news broke that he'd be coming back for the Santa Clauses.
That's me.
Number 4. Wendy Crewson. The Santa Claus is among the rare films featuring divorced parents who refreshingly don't get back together, normalizing 2 household families. One of those households just so happens to be at the North Pole.
Do you want to go for a quick ride?
Yeah!
Of course, it's up to your mom.
Please, Mom?
Go on, get out of here.
Wendy Crewson played Scott's ex-wife and Charlie's mom in all 3 Santa Claus movies. We imagine raising Charlie was easier than dealing with Henry in The Good Son. Tim Allen might fly Santa's sleigh, but Crewson flew Air Force One with Harrison Ford's President Marshall.
It needed to be done, and you did it. And you spoke from your heart, and that's what I heard tonight.
While no stranger to US audiences, Crewson is even more iconic in her birthplace of Canada, where she's been honored with the Earl Grey Award and on the Walk of Fame. She also won 2 Canadian Screen Awards for her work on Saving Hope and Slasher.
And she's the grandmother in it, but I get to put a whole new slant on Granny, so that's been very interesting.
Number 3, Judge Reinhold. The Santa Claus also subverted the misconception that step-parents have to be villains.
Where did you hear that?
From Neil. I learn a lot from him. He listens to me.
While Neil Miller isn't always the nicest guy, he genuinely cares about Laura and Charlie. Plus, it makes sense why a psychiatrist would be skeptical of Scott's new career as Santa.
What about the reindeer? Have you ever seen a reindeer fly?
Yes.
Well, I haven't.
Judge Reinhold helped to make the character funnier and more likable than anticipated. It didn't hurt that Reinhold was already a seasoned comedic actor, starring in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Gremlins, and the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. Reinhold has done some of his funniest work on television, mastering the art of close talking on Seinfeld. He's even played himself on Arrested Development and Clerks the animated series, in both cases serving as a judge. It was bound to happen eventually.
I'm sorry, Judge. Oh, that's okay. It's more laughs than I got in head office.
Number 2, Eric Lloyd.
You believed in me when nobody else did.
You helped make me Santa.
While Eric Lloyd is best known for playing Scott's son Charlie in The Santa Claus, 90s kids will also recognize the former child star from Dunstan Checks In and the Goosebumps Escape from Horrorland video game. What do actor Kevin Arnold from The Wonder Years, Bruce Wayne from Batman and Robin, and Billy Crystal from My Giant have in common? Lloyd played younger versions of all three. Lloyd has done some voiceover work as well, playing Blanky in the Brave Little Toaster sequels.
Grab hold, Sebastian. Comfy?
Very. How about you?
Oh yes, very comfy.
Opening a studio in 2015, Lloyd has been more focused on the production side of Hollywood as of late, but he's not retired from acting. Lloyd returned for the Santa Claus sequels and the Santa Clauses as Charlie, who's all grown up now.
So, for the good of Christmas, I'm retiring.
Wow, I didn't even know you could do that.
I think we see what the rest of the world's like as normal people.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Tim Allen. By 1994, Tim Allen was already the lead on one of TV's highest-rated sitcoms, Home Improvement. With The Santa Claus, the Tool Man proved that he was movie star material as well. Allen went from one hit movie to another, voicing Buzz Lightyear in the following year's Toy Story.
To infinity and beyond!
Since then, we've seen Allen go from jungle to jungle, helm the NSEA Protector, become a shaggy dog, and attempt to skip Christmas in another holiday comedy. While much has changed, Allen hasn't strayed too far from his roots.
What does that mean? It means you put on the suit, you're the big guy.
In recent years, he's remained prominent on the sitcom scene as Mike Baxter on Last Man Standing, voiced Buzz again in Toy Story 4, and played Scott Calvin for the 4th time in The Santa Clauses.
Who are you?
I'm Santa Claus.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.